What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Michael and welcome to Fudge Muppet. Now, I can't speak on behalf of everyone when I say this, but my favorite part of any Elder Scrolls game, aside from the creation of role-playing builds, tends to be factions. I love exploring the storylines of the various guilds and climbing through the ranks with a character who wants nothing more than to master the skills that their faction is renowned for. Factions are often the vehicle used to facilitate role-playing, as it's so much easier to be a thief when there's a thieves guild to join, or a dedicated mage when there's a magical guild to study at in order to develop your arcane abilities. Most characters can find a guild that suits their playstyle, however sometimes these characters become harder to roleplay because their skill set aligns with a main guild but their values do not. For example, if you are playing a character who uses alchemy, sneak, illusion, and archery, you'd be perfect for the Dark Brotherhood, but if your build has a stronger moral compass, it just wouldn't feel right at all. In the same way in Elder Scrolls for Oblivion, if you wanted to play as a sinister mage, it was very hard because you could only join the Mages Guild and fight off the evil necromancers. I really wish we could have joined them. Similar things happened in Skyrim, although it would be hard for me to criticize Bethesda for it too much. They can't just make 100 different guilds to align with 100 different role-playing and skill set options. Plus, I'd prefer they focus on making the factions they do include really in-depth. That all said, here are 4 factions Bethesda did choose to put in Skyrim that I really wish were more fleshed out. Oh, and Skyrim spoilers, of course. Faction number 1, the Silver Hand. This faction was showcased throughout the Companions questline and functions as a group of werewolf hunters. You see, while the Companions are seen by the public as a group of helpful warriors for hire who supposedly carry on the traditions of Isgrimmor's 500 companions, the elite members are part of an insider group known as the Circle. Members of the Circle carry lycanthropy, making them werewolves. These powers can then be used for the good of the Companions Guild, although some members do not see it as a blessing, but rather as a curse. Anyways, the Silver Hand somehow managed to learn of this and dedicate a lot of their time to hunting down werewolves like the Companions and killing them. As their name suggests, you can find silver in their hands. They're armed with silver weaponry in order to be much more effective against werewolves. While the weapon description says the weapon is more effective against undead, which is true, it also increases damage on werewolves and werebears. The Silver Hand are understandably concerned with curing diseases, as they do not want to contract lycanthropy. Because of this, you can often find potions of cure disease on their corpse, and also alchemy ingredients necessary to create the cure disease effect. Personally, I wish we were given the choice to join such a guild. Imagine if the Silver Hand had scouts watching you progress throughout the ranks of the Companions, and then after you're offered to become a werewolf, there's an option to be repulsed and say no, or you just say you need to think about it. You walk outside, and in typical Skyrim fashion, a courier runs up to deliver you a confidential letter. It reads something along the lines of this: "Greetings, warrior. My scouts have informed me that you have been progressing rapidly through the ranks of the Companions. However, sooner or later, there will come a time when you realize they are not what they seem. I wish to save you from losing your soul to these foul monsters, and I hope that this message finds you before it is too late. If you know what's good for you, meet me at the fort known as Gallows Rock. If you stay with these disgusting abominations, we will make you regret it." You could then travel to Gallows Rock to meet with the leader of the Silver Hand and join their faction, hunting down werewolves who live among society in secret, and eventually taking out the Companions. Now, by no means do I expect it to be a full-on storyline as detailed as ones like the Thieves Guild, but the ability to join the Silver Hand and complete a storyline of medium length after playing through the start of the Companions would have been epic. Sadly, the Silver Hand in Skyrim acted very much like bandits and didn't present themselves as righteous as their goals might make them seem. Faction number 2, the Vigil of Stendarr. This group is a militant order of holy paladins who fight Daedra and other abominations in the name of Stendarr, the divine god of justice, mercy, and charity. There's a quote delivered in the 10 commands of the 9 divines, reading, "Stendarr says, be kind and generous to the people of Tamriel, protect the weak, heal the sick, and give to the needy." In fact, if you stumble across a Vigilant of Stendarr in Skyrim and they detect you have a disease, they can offer to cure it for free. The Vigil of Stendarr is a faction that really had potential to be fleshed out in Skyrim, and while it was cool that they gained more attention after the Dawnguard DLC came out, they basically just functioned as a guild who had their main headquarters destroyed to make the vampire threat seem even more menacing. That said, it was neat to have vampires pretending to be Vigilants of Stendarr, calling out for you to come closer only to ambush you when you do. While Dawnguard satisfied the hunting of vampires in Skyrim, it would have been awesome to do a questline with the Vigilants before their guild hall was destroyed and they were destabilized. Going out to hunt down all types of undead, Daedra, and other types of monstrosities is a lot of fun, and just like the Silver Hand, I wouldn't necessarily require some huge storyline for it, just a nice contained one that let you join in. I also think the idea of joining a group who use battle mage tactics is sensational, mainly because it doesn't really fit in other places as well. In the College of Winterhold, it's solely magic focused, and the Companions Guild is solely warrior focused, revolving around weaponry and physical skill. The Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood often see magic and physical weapons combined in the playstyles of the members, but they rely on stealth. The Vigilants of Stendarr, however, love to use weapons like maces and warhammers, but also rely on magic schools like Restoration and Alteration. They use their magical and physical strengths for a righteous cause, and look badass while doing it. You don't see this in many other factions, except again in the case of the Dawnguard, but that was just vampires. Maybe a cool way to do it would be for you to do quests for the Vigilants from one of their locations, which wasn't the hall that gets destroyed, and then once the hall is destroyed, this other location becomes the new headquarters. The quests for their faction don't change either way in this case, and then perhaps once you've finished it, they'll send you to the Dawnguard to help if you haven't already. Then when you arrive, one of the options can be saying you were sent from the Vigilants as help. You then do the Dawnguard DLC with the Dawnguard, and perhaps after it is complete, you have the opportunity to convince Isran, a former Vigilance member, to focus on combating Daedra and other undead in addition to the vampires. On a side note, I think our Paladin build is an awesome character aesthetic to use for a Vigil of Stendarr build. Faction number 3, the Forsworn. Now don't get me wrong, the Forsworn were more fleshed out than most minor factions, and I think Bethesda did a good enough job with them. The main thing that irked me is this: why couldn't the adventure continue after the Forsworn conspiracy and the No One Escapes Cidhna Mine quests? These two quests are grouped together as one by most people, and it's one of the coolest side plots in the game. Personally, I think it would have been one of the best faction openings to ever grace the Elder Scrolls series if it then continued into a full storyline. So here's a quick summary of what happens. You walk into Markarth, you see a woman get stabbed to death in front of you, and it seems like a normal murder until people start talking about the Forsworn and the guards start covering it up. You're then approached by a man named Eltrus, who tells you his father was killed by the Forsworn and was linked to this issue. You then investigate the Forsworn conspiracy around the city, and when you go to report your findings to Eltrus at the city shrine, you find he's dead. Corrupt guards are there and they frame you for it, imprisoning you. You're trapped in Cidhna Mine, but Madanuk is here, the ringleader behind the Forsworn conspiracy. Madanuk allows you to side with the Forsworn who are trapped in the mine, killing an inmate for them and helping them to escape. As you leave, you will likely kill non-corrupt Markarth guards in the process. Of course, you can side with the Silverbloods instead, killing Madanuk and escaping the mines yourself. Madanuk is known as the King in Rags and is the leader of the Forsworn rebellion. He will bestow the armor of the Old Gods upon you, which is enchanted Forsworn gear, if you help him. You can then escape with them, slaughtering your way out of Markarth, and then going to their Forsworn home in Druidak Redoubt. There will be friendly Forsworn here, but that's about it. No option to continue working alongside the group. It would have been beast if your talents and commitment were recognized after the fact, unveiling a decently sized Forsworn plot that allowed you to really establish their dominance in the Reach, maybe even taking over Markarth. There could be ranks within the faction as you slowly earn their respect and trust, eventually becoming Madanuk's right-hand man, and not just someone he used to escape. For more information regarding lore on the Forsworn, check out our 5 Forsworn facts video. And then we arrive at faction number 4, the Bard's College. This was actually a faction you could officially join and do quests for, unlike the last 3 I've mentioned. As the name suggests, the Bard's College is a group people join to learn to perform, to sing songs, play musical instruments, and enthrall their listeners in stories and sounds. When I realized I could join the Bard's College in Skyrim, I thought it would be a pretty mad faction edition with a variety of role-playing possibilities. Unfortunately, you basically just become the Bard's College errand boy. You're sent to do all the dungeon crawling, which bards obviously wouldn't have the skill set for, and then they just act like you're one of them. Sadly, you never get to play a musical instrument yourself. You go find missing verses to a poem about Olaf One-Eye in order to join the guild, and then all you do is go recover missing instruments for other members, a drum, a lute, and a flute. I can easily understand that this guild would never have the potential to turn into something as in-depth as, say, the Dark Brotherhood, as being a bard can't really be a major part of any playthrough given the the mechanics, but why not at least let you play musical instruments for some of the quests? Maybe there's a specific minigame you play to hit the right notes at a performance, and you need to hit 90% of them correct or you fail. I know this might sound like a small needless thing, and it's not overly exciting, but to that I say this: don't add in a joinable Bard's College if you can't be a bard in it. It would be like joining the College of Winterhold and they ask you to just cook them food and they pretend you're a mage. Oh, powerful mage, conjure us up some more sweet rolls, would you? That's pretty much how it feels. So in summary, let us play an instrument and add some bard related activities to the quests. Then if they add in those fetch quests, they could revolve around finding lost songs, which you can then go and perform. I remember a while ago when we released our bard build, I even saw the idea floating around in the comment section by someone saying that not only could you find missing songs, but then maybe bards around Skyrim perform them after you collect them. Anyways, I can't say I have much experience with bard mods myself, but I'm sure there's some good ones out there to address this very issue. And that wraps up this Skyrim video. Thank you all so much for watching it all the way through. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to like it and subscribe if you're new and want more. Social media links are in the description, as is the link to our Twitch channel. My name's Michael, and I look forward to nerding out with you again very soon.